So I've been wanting to do this video on old timbers and different things that I find in all these old buildings that I take down all over Southwest Virginia. So it's really cool when we go in and we take the buildings down, and we're always taking these down for a reason, whether they're half rotted or they're falling down or they need to come down because of a housing development or something, similar to that. Every time I take a building down, I'm always saving a piece of it, whether it's from Tennessee, like this one here, all these other buildings, except for this one was from Vermont. This came out of my grandfather's building. This is old heart pine, southern yellow pine. This is northern hemlock. This is Virginia white oak. But it fascinates me the way our settlers did things back then and how they were able to come over here from Europe and Scandinavia and do what they did. They brought their knowledge with them on how to build timber frames and how to build log cabins and how to put all this stuff together. And it was simply amazing. Between the timber framers and the blacksmiths and everybody that worked on these old buildings, just everything about them amazes me to this day. These people didn't have power tools. They had the tools that they made, that the blacksmiths made or they made, to get all this stuff done. They had these old axes. They had an adze, to make a beam flat. Today we would put this on a sawmill and simply cut it down the side and square it up and be done with it. They did all this by manual labor and built some of the most beautiful structures that are still standing today. Now, there are some timber frames that were built in the 1630s, I think. I think there's a church up in Boston, North Church or something, Old North Church in Boston, Massachusetts, that was built around 1630s or something. But that's when most of these log cabins were starting to be built, was in the early 1630s, 1640s. Most of the ones I take down today are probably around the 1800s because all those have rotted, burned down, or were taken down and moved to another place and never set up. The joinery that they would use was just amazing. I keep these little sections like this instead of throwing it out, but it's just so cool to see how they would do a mortise and tenon joint with pegs. And basically, this is what held this building together by them doing this. And I can see the saw marks in here where they would saw this out. I could see drill marks in here where they would drill it out with a hand drill and then finish it off with a chisel. But this joint right here would just go together like so with a couple pegs in it. They would most likely make these with just a regular knife or something and put the pegs in, and those were their nails. And that joint was as strong could be. This is a pretty cool joint. Don't even know what it's called. But it's got some really cool joinery in this one little block of wood right here. How 3 different beams came into this one location, and they just figured it all out. It's just amazing. This piece came out of Tennessee, and this was actually an old hinge. This was one of the hinges on the big barn doors that opened. The barn doors were long gone and everything else, but there was 4 of these. There was 2 on each side. And it was really cool because it basically was just a pin on the door that came down through here, and this thing swung on these hinges. So I saved that piece as well because obviously we're never going to see that again. But just the structures, the way they would do these dovetail joints. Now this is an Appalachia joint, better known as a saddle joint. Joints were so tight. Even though they're tight now, maybe they weren't quite so tight back then, but still, it's just the weight of the building over the years making those joints. But still, it's just amazing how they did this stuff. This piece of wood here, and I have asked people about this, I've done my research on it. But when I took this barn down, the whole barn was completely full of all these holes. Every beam in the barn had these holes in it. Underneath the floor, up in the rafters, the ridge pole, all the beams holding up the second floor. We could not understand why there were so many holes in this barn. I've seen them before where they would have ladders or something going up through there. What we found out was, and I knew that they used to take their buildings down and they would move them when the families would move. A lot of times they would just pull all the pegs out, take the barn apart, move it to another location, reuse it. During the Civil War, this barn was most likely being taken down and being moved, or was taken down and sitting somewhere. During the battles, a lot of times they would take logs, they would take brush, they would take certain barriers and they would put them up so that the enemy couldn't get to them as quickly. A lot of these fights were done with bayonet. We think that these beams were taken down, these holes were all drilled at an angle, and they would take sharp pieces of wood and they would actually take them and put them coming out of these beams. And then they would be on the other side of that, so when the enemy came after them, they couldn't get to them as quickly. So that's what we've talked about with other people about this, and that's what a lot of historians think that, and I could be wrong, but I'm going by what I've been told about these pieces here. So it's just a cool piece that I'm holding on to. But it just amazes me, the materials that they use. You know, this is just a slice off an old white oak beam that I cut. This is old growth timber. This means that the trees back then didn't have to, they grew so slow. They weren't in the woods fighting for the sunlight and competing against other trees to grow, and then they would be cut down. It wasn't until the early 1900s when we really started clearing the forests around the United States. But these trees, this tree was probably maybe 14-inch diameter, and if I was to count the growth rings from the center of this piece of wood to the outside edge, that little tree was probably 150 years old, which makes this wood so heavy and so dense, it also makes it waterproof. And like when they did these dovetails, they would do them in such a way that the water would always run off the dovetail. There was no place for the water to actually catch. Oh, and another thing, this guy here, I could never understand what these things were. That's how they would actually, their beds, they would be like a hammock. They would have like string or whatever going from, there would be two of these hanging on the walls, and they would actually have like a hammock bed. And that's what these pieces here were for. And I have several of those that I've saved over the years, and I finally figured out what they were. I didn't figure it out. Someone came and actually said, hey, that's what that is. But again, it just amazes me the way they used to do things today. We go on YouTube and we show people how we do this really cool joinery with a table saw or with a chisel, you know, nice sharp chisel or power tools and all that stuff. This is when it was really done with amazing craftsmanship and with people that were just so talented and worked so hard. And it's just really cool to, yes, we take the buildings down, but to see all the things that they could do back then still amazes me today.